On this late night edition of Fox 13, our first alert weather team has our eyes on the forecast and our first measurable snowfall of the season ahead for northern Utah. Let's get right to meteorologist Doug Iverson with how much snow some Utahns can expect. Hi, Doug.
Hello there, Brian. Yeah, looking a little wintry out there, I think, late tonight. Now, for most locations, at least the lower elevations, generally an inch or less, if even that. I think the farther north you are, you probably won't see much. But we are seeing some rain and snow showers developing just to the northeast of us. Looks like around Colville, maybe some rain developing Morgan as well. All this will drop farther south, and most of it will be from Salt Lake City on south. Some of the mountain locations, anywhere from 2 to 6 inches. Take a look at the rain and snow forecast. We'll put it in motion, and then it looks like it fills back in. If you're going south of Salt Lake City, you'll be going right through the snow. We'll talk more about that with your 7-day coming up.
We have breaking news for you right now. Police in Tooele are searching for a teen that's been missing since Tuesday. Her name is Mia Richards. She's just 14 years old. Take a look at these pictures provided by investigators today. These pictures were taken at the Maverick in Tooele when Mia was last seen with a man and a woman wearing a white shirt. This was on Tuesday. Police have reason to believe she's missing and endangered. If you know anything about her whereabouts, contact Tooele Police right away. An update to breaking news we brought you last night right here on Fox 13. We've learned more about a homicide investigation in Taylorsville involving a woman accused of killing her mother. According to court documents, police say they found 84-year-old Carol Donley stabbed to death. Carol's daughter, 58-year-old Lori Donley, is behind bars tonight on criminal homicide charges for that crime. Lori's family telling Fox 13 Lori has a history of schizophrenia. Unified Police has not yet released a motive in this investigation. It's an issue that divides many in our community. Salt Lake City Police spending the morning cleaning up a homeless encampment at Topher Park. That's at the corner of 300 East, 7th South. Fox 13 Spencer Joseph joining us now to explain what neighbors who live around the park felt about that cleanup. Spencer?
Well, Brian, in total, police and health officials cleared up about 2 dump trucks full of trash from the area, removing from this homeless camp. But those around this park were mixed on how that all took place.
We have not been able to use this park for months.
It's a contentious issue.
But all this, a backhoe, dump truck, and multiple cops blocking traffic just to stand there?
The removal of a homeless camp has some angry.
That is not the best way to handle it.
And others relieved.
Well, this is the first day in months I walked the dog down here.
Saturday's cleanup at Topher Park was a part of the city's Community Commitment Program, launched by the mayor in late September. A coordinated effort between health officials, police, social workers, and cleanup crews removed these camps and helped give those in them services. Mayor Aaron Mendenhall told us in a statement, the size and longevity of some of these encampments have created public spaces that are no longer safe or sanitary, either for the unsheltered or for residents of the neighborhood. The solution to this is not simply ignoring it. As police have been cleaning these encampments around the city, opposition groups have tried to stop them.
I believe they think they're acting in the best interest of that population, but they're really not. But they're very much agitating factor. The health department has had physical threats to their employees from these groups.
But some we spoke to took issue with the number of police there.
To have such a show of force just to help people is absurd.
Those who live near the park were divided, even as Fox 13 was doing interviews. A disagreement between neighbors erupted.
Having 20 cop cars just hanging out.
That's the only way they could get rid of them.
So to have cops sitting on their... Oh, really?
We pay taxes.
You know my address?
Our whole lives. I don't care what your address is.
You just stated it. You just said that I don't live around here, and now you don't care. I drive by it and walk by it all the time.
Well, I live by it.
And I do too, sir.
While this cleanup is over, it won't be the last, and this controversy will inevitably continue.
The city has promised to treat all people with respect, including those experiencing homelessness, residents, business owners, and visitors, as well as maintaining those public spaces, making sure they're clean, safe, and accessible to all. And they're only pledging to use law enforcement intervention when criminal activity needs to be addressed. Live in the newsroom, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Today's COVID-19 numbers for Utah were lower than yesterday's record numbers, but the state's still seeing more than 1,600 new cases. We now have seen over 103,000 positive tests. 310 people are currently hospitalized because of the virus. The state's ICU bed capacity is now at 73% filled. One woman from Salt Lake County lost her life to the virus today. She was older than 85 and was not hospitalized at the time. Utah has now lost 568 people to COVID-19. Masks continuing to be a hot topic all across Utah, and it impacted one Cottonwood Heights man who claims he got kicked out of the farmers market in Lehi. Tonight, Fox 13 News getting both sides of the story from that man and from the director of the farmers market that removed him.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
RJ Walker runs a booth with games at farmers markets. He says he was doing his part to help keep people living in Utah County safe from COVID-19.
They put the masks on, played the game, got to keep their masks, got to keep their prizes. Nobody was upset, but then the proprietors came up.
He's been handing out masks at the Lehi Farmers Market for months without any issues. That was until Saturday.
There was no contention whatsoever until the proprietor came to my booth.
The company that had the representative the incident was with, they've been here since June, never had an incident with them.
Dorothy Durant is the proprietor of the farmers market. She says there's more to the story.
He was having bad interchanges with the customers. So he was throwing candy at kids and masks at people that didn't have masks on. He didn't want anybody near him that didn't have a mask on. We're an open market. We don't say you do have to wear a mask. We don't say you can't wear a mask.
I make sure that the people who play are, wearing a mask because everybody's reaching into the same prize bucket.
Walker posted a lengthy thread to social media that has gained a lot of traction. In it also expresses some of the comments exchanged.
He said that my mask was useless and that I was, spreading fear and propaganda.
Walker stressed he was not being rude, and as for the market, they say they want to continue being open and inviting.
If somebody didn't want to play or, wear a mask, it's fine. They could have just gone to another booth at the farmers market. I know when I'm not wanted, and if they're going to be unsafe, I don't want to be there anyway.
You don't have to come. You don't have to stay away. But this is one place where you can feel normal, whether you're in a mask or out of a mask.
Utah County, one of over 20 counties within the state's new guidelines that requires mask wearing. The farmers market telling us they would be refunding the fee for the booth to the company Walker works for. Meantime, COVID-19 continues to devastate parts of the Navajo Nation. Navajo Nation President Jonathan Nez posting these pictures to social media of Navajo Nation officers enforcing this weekend's 56-hour lockdown. So far, the Navajo Nation has seen more than 11,000 COVID-19 cases and 574 deaths. Protesters gathering today at the Utah State Capitol to voice their opposition to recent health guidelines from the state health department. Fox 13's Diego Romo spoke to protesters about why they oppose new mask requirements in high transmission areas across the state.
In 2020, people disagree on a lot of different topics. The protesters who gathered at the Capitol on Saturday disagree with the state's new coronavirus guidelines.
Just against the mask mandate, maybe not anti-mask, but against mandating them.
Specifically, the new guidelines that require masks in counties around the state that are considered to have high levels of coronavirus transmission.
What's the government's job? It is to preserve life, liberty, and property.
One of the groups at the protest, the Proud Boys of Utah, who are listed as one of 5 active hate groups in the state by the Southern Poverty Law Center, compared mask mandates to the government taking a person's guns away, among other things.
Those are things that they happen in other countries, they happen in socialist countries, or but they don't happen here. This is a free country.
For some, mask mandates are an effective way to prevent the spread of the virus, especially as Utah sees record high case counts. But others like Jacob Isbell say the mask mandates simply aren't legal.
It is completely illegal. The state mandated from Governor Herbert and even different counties who have made lockdown orders and tried to make it enforceable by fines. That's illegal. Let people choose for themselves.
Although some legal scholars point to several Supreme Court decisions that uphold a state's authority to issue public health mandates. And in a recent press conference, Governor Gary Herbert pointed to the fact that the guidelines are public health orders rather than mandates.
I don't expect there's going to be a lot of police out looking for violators. It's a matter of it's an ordinance. It's an order from our Utah Health Department to help us all be safe and to keep our economy going. There's nothing bad about this. This is a good thing.
Proud Boys members say the government should focus on balancing life and liberty when it comes to public health guidelines and mandates.
You can't preserve life and get rid of liberty or property, right? So if to preserve life they needed a big facility, they can't come and take your home even if you have a big house, right? They can't do that. Well, I suppose in eminent domain they could.
All of the protesters gathered here at the Capitol today are from different groups, but they all share a similar message. They feel that these new guidelines represent government overreach into people's lives. In Salt Lake City, Diego Romo, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Still to come, Moran Eye Center making a difference in a dozen lucky Utahns' lives. We'll take you inside Operation Sight Day.
With just over a week to go, both candidates are crisscrossing the battleground states, hoping to give themselves a boost before Election Day. I'm Garrett Tenney in Waukesha, Wisconsin, with the details coming up.
In the final days of the race between President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden, both candidates are making visits this weekend that they hope will give them an edge in several key battleground states. Fox's Garrett Tenney has this Election 2020 update.
Thousands lining up outside Madison Square Garden Saturday morning as polling centers open for early voting in New York. Nationwide, more than 54 million Americans have voted, including President Trump, who cast his ballot Saturday morning in Florida.
Mr. President, who did you vote for today?
I voted for a guy named Trump. Thank you very much, everybody.
With no time to waste before Election Day, the president taking right to the campaign trail, making stops in North Carolina, Ohio, and Wisconsin.
Joe Biden's allegiance is to his donors, and my allegiance is to the people of this country. That's it.
Democrats also working to get out the vote in several battleground states. Vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris paid a visit to Ohio, while Joe Biden's old boss, former President Barack Obama, campaigned for him in Florida.
And for 8 years, I saw Joe up close. He was the last one in the room whenever I faced a big decision. He and Kamala are going to be in the fight not for themselves, but for every single one of us.
Joe Biden himself held a drive-in rally in Pennsylvania, telling voters he wants to prioritize their safety.
I don't like the idea of all this distance, but it's necessary. I appreciate you being safe. What we don't want to do is become super spreaders.
Those comments coming just one day after the U.S. set a daily record for new cases of the coronavirus. In Waukesha, Wisconsin, I'm Garrett Tenney, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Today, senators met in Washington, D.C. to debate the nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. Now, for weeks, Democrats have blasted Republicans' efforts to fast-track the confirmation before the election. Judge Barrett's confirmation vote will take place Monday night. Back here at home, some Utah doctors spent the day giving patients in need the gift of sight.
I'll be able to have sleepovers with the grandkids. I'll be able to take my friend. My friend would really like to go on a little trip, so that would be nice to be able to drive her to, to go take a little trip.
The Moran Eye Center celebrated their annual Operation Sight Day by giving free cataract surgery to 12 Utahns in need. Operation Sight Day has restored sight for more than 200 Utahns over the past 8 years. Today is National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, and South Salt Lake police officers took part by helping people clean out their medicine cabinets. Officers were on hand at the local Walgreens to take prescription meds and deliver them to Utah's DEA offices for proper disposal. If you weren't able to make it to today's event, you can drop off your unused medications at one of several drop boxes around the state, including ones at your local police station.
Doug Iverson in for Breck Bolton again, and we're talking about another change of the weather. It got cold this week. Well, it's going to get even colder, so we'll enjoy this 50 degrees because we will not see that tomorrow. A lot of clouds starting to build in over the top of us, and we have that north wind. Yeah, north wind because of a Arctic cold front right over the top of us. This will make us cold enough that we'll break some records, especially during the morning hours. That would be Monday and Tuesday mornings, the coldest we've seen since February, and it's also bringing with it some rain and some snow, and a few of us will see some accumulating snow by the time it's all said and done. So your forecast tonight, we're barely above freezing for low in Salt Lake City, so certainly cold enough for some snow. Provo, 39, but then we drop, and looks like it'll be warmer, I think, during the nighttime than the actual daylight hours tomorrow, although though 42 will be the high, will end up being colder than that in the afternoon. Salt Lake City around 38. With snow likely in the morning. I think the farther north you go, the less you'll see of that snow. But if you're east of Salt Lake or south of Salt Lake City, definitely some accumulating snow on the ground. And so how much are we talking? Generally less than an inch, but this lighter, darker blue area, anywhere from 1 to 3, and some of the mountains 3 to 6 inches, especially between Price and Mount Pleasant. And this storm system should be out of here as far as the precipitation tomorrow evening. Southern Utah, there's the cold. 50 for a high on Monday. We're going to be freezing cold Monday night, Tuesday morning for southern Utah. Fortunately, this cold snap's not going to last long. We're right back in the 70s come Wednesday with mid-70s for your Friday and Saturday. Lows at night will certainly be a bit warmer. And we got a lot of wind, too, tomorrow for southern Utah. So St. George, you're under a high wind watch. We could see wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, and there's that possibility of high winds again on Monday. So a couple of really bad hair days for southern Utah. Wasatch Front, oh, we got some cold weather tomorrow night, Monday morning. That's a record low of 19. And another record low Monday night, Tuesday morning of 22. We're blowing away records that are well over 100 years old. So that just goes to show how chilly we'll be, but we're not chilly for long. 60s will return Thursday. We're in the mid-60s Friday and Saturday. Morgan Vance now on deck with sports.
We finally have someone other than BYU playing football. Utah State joining the party tonight with the Mountain West Conference underway. The Aggies' toughest challenge, however, may have been their first in October trip to the Smurf turf of Boise State. The Ute transfer Jason Shelley now running the show at USU, but he was definitely outplayed by the QB on the home side, Hank Bachmeier. Over the ocean to Khalil Shakir, 52-yard hookup to start a big second quarter. Bachmeier doing it himself this time. Then the sophomore finding George Halani. Watch this shoddy defense by the Aggies. Boise State up 28-0 at the half. The Aggies only 45 yards of total offense in the first, a little better in the second. Back-to-back short touchdown runs by Jalen Warren to cut the lead to 15. Nice effort on the second one. But the Broncos conclude with a couple more pylon crossings before games end as they just wallop Utah State in their debut, 42-13.
We give ourselves a chance to be able to cut it to a one-score game, but obviously Boise came back and did what they did to score, and some self-inflicted wounds stopped us from being able to move the ball in the first half. And it's good to see them get a little mojo there to get a couple drives with some physicality of running the football, which you're going to beat these guys down the road. That's what it's going to take.
The Big Ten also returning this week, a good one between 8th-ranked Penn State and Indiana. The Nittany Lions trying to survive. Sean Clifford has Jahan Dotson. Then after a 4th and out, they wanted Devin Ford not to score here, just to down it at the 1 so Penn State could run out the clock. But instead, the touchdown allowed the Hoosiers to do that. Michael Penix pushed across. Penix with the 2-point conversion as well to force overtime, where Clifford is on the roll here to Parker Washington. Penn State back up, but Penix answers. Nice ball to Whop Philyor, and then Red going for the win instead of another round of OT, and check out just how close it was. Penix with the push and dive. After a review, they say he did cross the line as Indiana wins 36-35. An upset that should help BYU. The 12th-ranked Cougars back in Provo this week, where they were 28.5-point favorites on Texas State. Fans finally allowed inside LaVell Edwards Stadium. Perhaps a little shock, though, to see the Bobcats bite first. Brady McBride to his right and locates a target. Marcel Barbie has it, but the Cougars answered quick. Lapini Katoa lowers the horns to tie it at 7. And then Zach Wilson in space drops a ball for Keanu Hill. Wilson and Hill go 33 yards for the lead. A 21-point second quarter to follow. Blue calls the play fake this time and letting their tight end, Isaac Rex, win the jump ball. The first of 2 touchdowns for him. The Corner Canyon product saving his best of the half for last. Wilson and Dax Milne connecting for the 5th time this season. BYU since piling on in the second, at 49-7 in the third. After 10 days off, RSL facing FC Dallas for the first time this season. The Claret and Cobalt finding the post quite a bit. The net not so much. Douglas Martinez beside himself. If that one didn't go, Pablo Ruiz off the top bar. Then second half, Damir Kreilach shanks a great look as RSL missed all 20 shots tonight. The good news is Andrew Putna pitched a clean sheet. They sit 9th in the West after the scoreless draw. And Tony Finau still in decent shape at the Zozo Championship. Eagle roll at 11 to give him a share of the lead, but a triple bogey 3 holes later dropped him back in a tie for 13th, 5 strokes back of Justin Thomas at -19 after 3 rounds. Brian?
Thank you, Morgan. Thanks for watching this late edition of Fox 13 News. Modern Family is up next. Have a great night.